Watch. Loch Ness Monster spotted swimming?
Something that's not just a twig that's going in and out.
Don't know what to think of that. It looks smaller than it really is.
Something that's not just a twig that's going in and out.
A woman visiting Loch Ness was left scratching her head when she spotted what may have been the legendary monster swimming. The intriguing footage was shared by the Loch Ness Center, which explained that the sighting occurred on July 16th as the witness, identified as Livia, and her boyfriend were watching the water near the iconic Urquhart Castle. In the video featured above, a dark and fairly sizable anomaly can be seen bobbing along Loch Ness, seemingly swimming against the current of the water. As she watches the weirdness unfold, Livia can be heard expressing skepticism that the object is not just a twig that is going in and out of the water. That said, in posting the video online, the Loch Ness Center conceded that the anomaly could be a tree caught in the castle's outlet pipe, or, if one believes that it is a creature, a seal. Either way, the tourist attraction mused. They left with a story to tell in this video that had them wondering what else might be underneath the surface. I don't know. It just it could be just a limb of some sort, or a twig or something, or it could be a seal. It's entirely possible. Very intriguing, whatever it is. But it could be just as mundane as a seal of some sort. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think of it. Watch. Witness films Lake Champlain Monster? Notice this happened right around the same time as the Loch Ness video. The Loch Ness video was on the 16th of July. This is on the 14th of July. Now, Katie Elizabeth has been looking into Champ and things of that nature for quite a while. So, I mean, what is it? Is it Champ? Or is it something else? I'm not so sure we'll ever really know, but it's quite fascinating nonetheless. Is it Champ? Well, we don't know for sure. There needs to be video taking comparisons with boats in the same area, and also with other items such as tree branches and things of that nature. Because, and I'm just throwing this out there, it's entirely possible that the Sandra Manzi photo from 1976 could be just a tree branch. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it could be. There's a possibility that it could be. But I don't know for sure. Sandra Manzi swears it came up out of the water and that it was an animate object. So what's the real truth? We may never know. I mean, Sandra Manzi's passed away, so we may never know the real truth about it. So really, who knows? And here's an article about Texas Bigfoot Research Center's founder, Craig Woolheater. A Jefferson native continues to search for Sasquatch. Texas Bigfoot Conference founder Craig Woolheater believes in the big guy. On Memorial Day weekend in 1994, Craig Woolheater was driving home to Dallas from New Orleans on US 71 in central Louisiana when he and his then-girlfriend saw a 7-foot-tall gray figure on the side of the road. He wanted to turn around. His girlfriend said no way. He's been fascinated with the elusive Bigfoot ever since. A few years later, Woolheater's parents operated a bed and breakfast in Jefferson, a town with a long history of Sasquatch sightings. When he attended, now this says the Southeast Ohio Bigfoot Conference in the late 90s. At that time, it was called the Annual Bigfoot Conference for one thing, and for another thing, it's never been called the Southeast Ohio Bigfoot Conference. In the late 90s, decided to bring the concept to Texas. Woolheater determined Jefferson was the perfect location. The inaugural event took place a few days after 9/11. We had 130 people show up, he says. It was kind of nice to have something to bring folks together. Declared the Bigfoot capital of Texas by town proclamation in 2018, Jefferson and his residents have embraced the hairy cryptid. Many restaurants have Bigfoot-themed menu items, and nearly every store sells related merchandise. There's even a 6-foot, 3,000-pound statue on Jefferson's nature trail the locals call Bigfoot Alley. Yeah. So a really interesting and short article about Craig Woolheater, or as he's also been known, the Woolly Booger. And it's actually very, very refreshing to see an article that doesn't mock and ridicule Bigfoot believers and Sasquatch researchers. I am glad to see that. Maybe the tide is turning in some cases with the media. Although they are still the lamestream media, to be quite honest. But maybe they're starting to have a turnaround with this, at least in Texas. Finally, North Carolina driver spots possible Sasquatch crossing road. A North Carolina motorist could not believe her eyes when the car in front of her suddenly stopped and what appeared to be a Sasquatch dashed across the road. The peculiar incident was reported to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization by witness Susan King, who explained that the sighting occurred on this past Friday, August 1st. That'd be 2 weeks ago. As she and her fiancé were driving to the town of Highlands, their trip took a weird turn when the car ahead of them slammed on its brakes. What caused the curious action, King said, was a large black creature that scrambled across the road on 2 feet. Said to have jumped over the guardrail with ease, the witness described the very tall creature as sporting long arms and dark hair. Asserting that she is a Sasquatch skeptic, King conceded I never truly witnessed anything like this before and was seemingly left with no other explanation than that she and her fiancé had a brief Bigfoot sighting. Alas, it would appear that despite being obviously startled, the people in the car ahead of them just simply continued driving, leaving the couple with no opportunity to compare notes about what they had all just seen. Now, Matt Moneymaker says that the sighting was very credible. It occurred in broad daylight. Declared the creature they saw could only have been a Sasquatch. Well, not necessarily. It might not. Maybe it wasn't a Sasquatch. Maybe it was a bear. And she panicked and thought it was a Sasquatch. Even though she's a Sasquatch skeptic. But it was seen by more than one person, so maybe there's some corroboration going on. I don't know. Was the Sasquatch? I'm going to give it about a 50-50 shot that it was. But it might not have been. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't say for sure. So what was it? Your guess is as good as mine. Now, I said that last news item was actually the final thing. No, this is actually the final thing. The final news item. Mark DeWorth has made the announcement of 3 speakers for the upcoming 2026 Ohio Bigfoot Conference, which will be on May 2nd of next year. The first speaker will be Alexander Petikov. Now, for those who have been following Alex, he has been producing quite a few pretty terrific documentaries for small town monsters as of late. And I met Alex at this year's Ohio Bigfoot Conference. He's a pretty cool dude. Pretty cool guy. So, looking forward to hearing him speak. Well, hopefully I'll get to go to the OBC next year. Then the second speaker will be Dr. Haskell Hart. Now, for those who may have read his book about the Melba Ketchum Genome Project, the Sasquatch Genome Project, he made no bones about it that that was just a ridiculous and unscientific, quote-unquote, scientific paper. It was quite unscientific, I agree. And then the final speaker will be the returning Cliff Barrickman. Now, I know there's going to be those out there who say, Cliff again? Good grief. Doesn't Mark have any other speakers in mind? Well, the only thing I can suggest is, if you don't like Cliff Barrickman, and you don't like the fact that he's always there every year, go start your own conference and invite your own speakers. I personally have no problem with it, with Cliff being there. I do know there was at least one person, and I won't name them, but they complained about this year's Ohio Bigfoot Conference. Oh, they always have the same people. Well, not necessarily, because at least 2 of those speakers at this year's Ohio Bigfoot Conference were pretty fresh, and that being Seth Breedlove and Shelley Covington, Montana. And neither one of them had actually spoken at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. They had been guests. Seth was a guest in 2015, and Shelley had attended several conferences in Ohio, but had never been a speaker before. And obviously Cliff and Renee Holland and Dr. Jeff Meldrum had been speakers at the OBC before, but not Shelley Covington, Montana, or Seth Breedlove. So, you know, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk when I say that if you don't like Cliff Barrickman being a speaker at the OBC, go start your own conference. But I'm I'm just throwing it out there. There may be those who are probably tired of the same speakers. Well, I can tell you this, Haskell Hart is not the same speaker. Neither is Alexander Pentecoff. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Cliff speaking at the OBC again. He's going to be giving a yearly update on what's been going on in 2025, obviously, into early 2026. So that I look forward to, for sure. No question about that. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And for the past decade plus, I've been doing this. And have enjoyed every second of it. And I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. And I think starting next week, I'm going to be back to weekly again. I'm going to be back to weekly with this show. I think it's about time, because it's been about 3 months since I've gone bi-weekly. So I figure it's about time to go back to weekly. So there'll be weekly updates again starting next week. So until then, y'all be good or be good at it. This is May-HBM's Cryptid-Corner.